why they went to the bush, as it were. One was that those, when the first, under the first UNRF 1 agreement, those who were not incorporated and returned to their homes were neglected. That was their number one grievance. Number two, and even when the president gave them a package, I don't want to say the amount, it was a big package, and he gave it to Moses Ari to take to them, they complained that Moses Ari did not give them the money and instead abused them. That he called them Aringa too, that even you Aringa, meaning that even you Aringa, can you fight the government and remove it? In other words, that he despised them. Then the third one, there was a third one. There were three. But in 2002, the list that now came was long, and definitely it was not Bamuse who was at it. It was these opportunists who wanted to ride on it because they were bringing all issues. They were talking about to bring that the government must give amnesty to Amin, to Obote, I don't know to who. They had a long list. You know, things which were irrelevant to West Nile. And obviously, which was not even the reasons which they had said they had taken them to the bush. Then they were talking about having some constitutional reforms. They were talking about, okay, the one thing which they talked about of Yumbe becoming a district, that demand, which eventually the president gave them, yeah, that one sounded okay. But bring up things like of Kayihura, things of the whole country now. They were now, so it was like, yes, it was now. So if you, I have the list of them, I can give them to you. I think I have them somewhere. But you could see this was not Bamuse and UNRF. This now other people had hijacked it. These opportunists and self-seekers. Well, anyway, the late honorable Elia Katege was the deputy prime minister and the minister of internal affairs. You know, took over the leadership of the whole process, and with the General Secretary was, I think, assigned by the president, given special assignment to support this initiative. So, especially the two of them really gave a big boost to the process, and by June 15th June, a ceasefire was signed in Yumba, I believe, and under that ceasefire, that ceasefire agreement, there was provision for peace talks, and that the UNRF2 would propose an agenda, which they did after some time, and then that agenda, what they proposed was really incredible, a long thing. Then I remember I was called to be part of the team to discuss it, and then before it's presented to cabinet, no, to discuss the response of government to, because there were a lot of falsehoods in that what they had written. So government, we worked out a comprehensive response which was presented to government. Then it was then given to UNRF2. We gave it to, because I was an emissary, so at their camp, I used to visit their camp. One time, actually, that's another story. One time when I went to their camp, I had been freely going, but I would be very careful. I would obviously not want to provoke any situation, so I would leave arms out. So one time, I don't know again what had happened. They tried to humiliate me, even threaten me, because I was, they make you walk. You leave the vehicle at the quarter guard, you walk to it was like something like 50 meters. Then there was one particular terrible guy. I almost stepped on an anti-personnel because he was taking me to where they had laid, they had like a round defense. They had put anti-personnel mines. So the guy was leading me there until another one pulled me. Among them, pulled me. Said, there are mines there. So then, and another one, when as I was coming out, pointing another page at me. So very hostile, very hostile. So now we started seeing conflicting signs. On the one hand, this man has sent an idea he wants peace talks. He reached the ceasefire agreement. He wants peace talks. But at the same time, on the ground, there is hostility. Now, so when I informed the president then becomes stern now. I'm telling you all this to tell you what eventually led to Bamuze and his group accepting to enter into peace agreement. Now, the president now became, he had been soft to him all along, from 98 to, whatever he asked, whatever Nasur asked, he would give it. And all of us were, because the most important thing was to get these people back. Confidence building, showing goodwill. But now, after all this that we have done, now these guys are becoming intransigent, they're becoming hostile. So the president gave directive, very strong orders. I can't remember the details, to the 4th Division to give an ultimatum to this man. And I think that's why General Sari, camped, because he came to supervise, he went there to supervise all this. Because anything would have happened. So, then I remember even people like Honorable Bakoko, who was the Minister for Gender, coming in. He visited Bamuze a number of times, and I think talked sense into him. Because see, Bamuze was big, people were going into his ear. Yes. So eventually he came online, and eventually we got the peace agreement signed between the late Honorable Ria Kategaya. I think it was witnessed by General Mugume and Joram, and then of course Bamuze. This was the 16th of December. That was 6 months later after the ceasefire. So what I'm telling you happened during these 6 months between them. And now, so for me, after 2002, I don't think I was active really. I don't remember. Okay, I used to, once in a while, I'm involved in some meetings, but I was not involved in the implementation of the agreement. In any case, after that, I went to Ituri. The president assigned me to go to Ituri, again to pacify Ituri before our battalion was withdrawn. And then from there, then he sent me. I remember he sent me to go to Sudan. Not that time, it was not South Sudan, it was Sudan, as his special envoy to coordinate. Because by that time we were working closely with Bashir to hunt for Kony, who was hiding in Birinyang near Juba. That time Juba was not yet under SPLM. So basically that's what I remember. I remember really, and that was my role was coordinating role. I was, as I said, I was in the military assistant to the president. Whatever I was doing was either on instructions of the president or to pass on instructions. his decisions. Or anyway, the liaison, sort of liaison and occasionally harmonizing things. And I feel good because I made a contribution, and I also got to learn about West Nile. I established links there. I'm telling you about those elders. I wish I could visit them again, and I wish they are. I hope they are alive. But they were really nice people. I can't forget them. And they convinced me about our strategy, the NRA way. The NRA way of managing whether it's governance, whether it's struggle, of solving problems by focusing on the masses, really, and as much as possible mitigating the negative effects of opportunistic elites. I'm not saying that all elites, I'm an elite anyway, all of us are elites, but the political elite in Uganda, they have got one big weakness. Opportunists, they are very opportunistic. And if there are any lessons to learn from that experience, it's really that when I see the president, you see how he goes out to the, because it's not that he doesn't have people who should be going there, but they don't go there. You see, our strength is linkage with the people. That is our way of struggle. That's our way of solving problems. Even me, when I was IGP, they used to say, "But why is that man going to the scene of crime?" But that is our way. Of course, I couldn't go everywhere. I went there first of all to demonstrate to these other officers how they should not sit in barracks. I was just telling you about General Katumba, and even his approach was the same. I mean, he never sat in the barracks like a big commander there. And if he has directives and he's waiting for reports, he would go to the communities, talk to them, listen to them, be empathetic. And even there you get information firsthand. I wasn't required to be traveling to Yumbe all the time. But you see, I reached a point where when you read the reports, you say, no, there's a problem here. I better go down and establish, you see the truth. And when you reach there, you also bring your own capability into play. You try to solve problems that may delay the whole process. So it's a way of managing. That's a management style, if you want, or leadership style. Okay, then if he's sitting in Tebe and things are going, then they accuse him. They say, but we don't even see him. So which is which? You hear some people say, we can't see the president. Oh, Then when he goes to see you, then you complain. So which is which? Because you see, as I said, that peace agreement, and it's really I'm happy that UPDF has decided on this peace day and to commemorate this achievement, because this was the achievement of the people with the NRM. The NRM way. It's a vindication of the NRM way of solving the problems of the country. Engagement, however long it takes, because it could easily have used force, and because if UPDF defeated, or NRA defeated the West Nile Bank, which was strong, and the Sudanese army, what was UNRF, which had very few of these, but in this case, using soft power, of mobilization, reaching out. This was a vindication of our methods of addressing problems of the country. And I believe these are this, we would call it peace dividend. What's going on? West Nile is now stable, it's pacified, it's stable, there is a lot of development. Where I used to from 1998 to 2000, it was Maram all the way. It's now tarmac. Even through the park, it's tarmac. You see, you don't hear any problems. Now, in any case, now we have We have a friendly government in South Sudan. That's also another positive development in our favor. So there will be no base, no group that will now use Sudan. We still have a problem of Congo. So it's possible if but my thinking is if you look at the programs, as long as the programs will have a mass oriented, like PDM, and we make sure these programs succeed. And you cannot leave it to the president. There's this whole structure. We all must participate. You get it? Because there's nobody, So, what I'm saying is, as long as we remain using our way, the NRA, NRM way. For me, I'm an NRA cadre, because out of conviction, because I experienced, how you win victory through intimate connection with the people. If you can't solve their problems, explain to them. What do these RDCs do? Why don't they go to the population and explain things? So I'm not quarreling, but I'm saying our way, this West Nile experience, and ultimately bring peace, as I said, is because of our patient way of doing things and the good leadership that we have. Patient and pro-people. All we need, our people are not difficult. You explain to them, okay, you can't solve all the problems. I think, but why you can't solve, explain to them. Explain to them. And even the other lesson we can, which I must also criticize ourselves, that perhaps had we engaged those people and they felt a sense of worth, and they don't feel neglected, maybe they would not have resorted to. And when you look at a man like Bamuze, really, he was a very good man. I don't think he wanted war, from the way I assessed him. But circumstances can cause you to do that. So my biggest criticism is those who are, especially from, whether you talk about Hiroshi 1, but basically the RDC, because the RDC is the representative of the central government, they should use these methods, the proven method. When you see General Sare camped in Gulu, you think he doesn't have better places to stay, but because he saw that you need to engage. The other time he organized a fundraising on his birthday for sort of a problem, I think. With sisters, he's involved in community work. That's how for the people's war, weaponizing the people to solve their own problems, whether it's security or whether it's development. That's really the ideology. And if we could only, those who are charged with it, put it to effect. And that's the lesson of West Nile, and as well as other places in the country. When we divert from that way of managing problems of the country, then we get problems like those ones of West Nile. West Nile, of course, was very sensitive because of the history. Idi Amin was from there, and what happened after Idi Amin. There was a bit of punitive incidents by some individuals, and then Obote 2 comes. There is a repeat. So, and when we came, also it took us time to win them over. Because even in the last agenda, they were bringing up issues of Itende that Furonasa killed, which was, of course, nonsense. My experience in Ruwero, up till now, is what drives me. When I talk, what I'm telling you is the experience in Ruwero, the people's war. Because, it depends on my conviction. I'm already a people person. But, to turn that into a national in this, an ideology of struggle and of governance. I get frustrated when I see us kind of like not. It's only, I say, of course, the president has really stuck to it, General Saleh, you see. But a number of actors, unfortunately, in the bureaucracy, it never got shared, that ideology, that vision. But otherwise, that's my that should be our legacy, this legacy to the Gen Z, And unfortunately, I've not done a good job to kind of evangelize it and make so that they are not lost. Because a lot of times you see when you talk to the youth, they are really lost. But it's not their fault. I think we didn't do due to the many problems we had to handle. I think, but it's not too late. But to me, that's the legacy. That's where strength lies. Turning the people, winning over the people, and turning them into the weapon to solve their problems. That's what the cadres under the president did. We did. I hope I should include myself in the bush. And even these insurgencies. That's why you see, if you're not in Ruero, the Wananchi were running from UNLA to where the guerrilla camps were for protection. And that's why you had population centers, and which was really a big burden even to the NRA. In all these insurgencies in the north, in spite of the fact that the propaganda was that we are from the west, we are going to kill all of them, but the Wananchi would run to the barracks, wherever the NRA, UPDF units were. Up till today, they would run to for safety to the Nani. Even in Yumbe, against UNLF 2. These towns they were running to, were running for protection of the UPDF, of the NRA, UPDF. Not just proud, I'm energized, and I feel the 40 years were not in vain. And I try to use it when people try to vulgarize this program, which I initiated and with the president, and the president gave it of crime preventers. It was the same thing. To solve the problem of crime. Because these few policemen you have around, they cannot solve the problem of crime. Even in countries like America, Europe, where they have cameras, they still rely on crime preventers. They call them. What it means, participation of the people in solving their problems. That's the philosophy. That's the ideology. Not always through government. What's government? Actually, government should be you. Should start with you. You should be part of the government, not alienated from it. So that to me is the okay. You can call it. Okay, obviously I'm proud, but more important, I'm energized, and I feel that that's what we should do. The leadership, whether in government or movement, that's what we should push as the way of governance and the way of solving problems of the country. And even when you hear these, it's very interesting when you hear some of these opposition politicians talking. They are talking like political commissars of NRA, of NRM. When they are criticizing the government, it's as if it's NRM talking, which indicates that they themselves appreciate our ideology. Because our ideology spirit, there's no ideology spirit to the ideology that was used to fight the People's War in Ruero. So that's you're asking me about that. The moment, that's the moment. The 5 years that we were in Mwanga Kibibi was making fun of our song. Kazi ngumu tuliyofanya na wananchi wenye. He was making, although he was saying that he was turning it against us now. But what I was very happy about, he appreciated his message. Yes, the strength of. Only he was saying, but are you doing what you are singing? which is okay. He's criticizing us. So if we are not doing it, we should do it. The biggest challenge was what happened to me at the end of it, which I don't want to talk about. But it was again, I should say, opportunists and self-seekers. I became a victim of opportunists and self-seekers who, I don't know, for reasons known to themselves, decided to target me. But thank God, the criminal justice system in the UPDF, and again that also speaks to the strength of the system, established that these were just hogwash, that these were just lies, and obviously the president got to know the truth. So that's the only. But otherwise, I enjoyed my time of service. I enjoyed it very, very much, and I hope I made a contribution. Those who I touched, whenever I'm moving around, some people come to, oh, you did this for us, and it feels good. It feels good. It's good. It feels good to serve others, or to be part of a cause larger than yourself. I'm not in the business of forecasting, because I don't think you can predict the future. You know, history is every moment in history is a crossroad where you know the road you are coming from, but you don't know the future. There are many paths, there are many possibilities ahead of you. Different roads. One cannot know. There are many things that who would have known that some of our best cadres could turn hostile. I would never have imagined, but it happened. So it's not about forecasting. But perhaps what your question I would answer would be what we should do. I mean, that's why in the army we have lessons learned. What lessons do we learn? If only we could have that moment where we reflect on lessons learned, both lessons, positive lessons as well as negative, and we and we used to do it. That's why in the methods of work we used to have this criticism, open criticism, self-criticism. You openly, you put things on the table. Say, look here, but with this Socratic mind, not to win points. Not that I'm debating with you, so like in a school to win points. No, but authentic desire or authentic inclination to establish the truth. Now, once you have that mindset, not that I want to have an edge over, then you will, out of evaluating these lessons learned, then you can chart a way forward. You are likely to not make mistakes. And let me tell you, let me give you an example of the Chinese. Chinese, okay, it's not the democracy that people keep talking about, I don't know. But you see how they have organized themselves. And they are taking over the world, or even the universe. They reached the moon, the part of the moon where the Americans have never reached. So to me, we need to soberly evaluate where we are coming from, what lessons, what gives strength, and that's how, and then connect with these young people. We need to have time for young people. We are lucky, actually, for me, having a young population is an asset, as long as we manage it. Japan, they are resorting to robots because their population is aging. Even Europe and America the same. But we have others. They invite immigration because their populations are going down now. Their fertility rates are going down. We are lucky. After all, Africa is still underpopulated. Uganda is very much underpopulated. So it should not be the issue is how do you manage them? How do you, and the biggest weakness in our system is not connecting with them in a systematic way, ideologically, because people are not difficult. Once you genuinely explain things to them, you engage them, you allow them to express themselves, to tell you the truth. This is exactly what this process really achieved. Because even when for example, I was telling you, Ali Bamuse, when he sent that list, the agenda for the peace talks, which was full of very ridiculous things. Our leaders could have, if they were not sober and developed, they could easily have rubbished it and said, just to end with you. Moreover, he was in a very vulnerable position. They had all concentrated in Bidi. But if you see how the late Honorable Kategai, of course, with the guidance of the president, handled this patiently, responding to every ridiculous allegation. Patient, without anger, and engaging him, even and waiting for him to reply. I can even tell you, twice I went to Bidi. President was in Gulu. I went to Bidi to invite, because President had invited Bamuze to meet him in 4th Division headquarters. The man refused twice. Can you imagine? Now, and the president still said, okay. Patience and the patient engagement. Don't be, even when somebody calls you names, it's okay. It's okay. Look for them and engage them. I met, I was no longer anything. I met a gentleman in a function who used to make cartoons of me. And he told me, he said, I'm the one who used to make cartoons of you. So I said, oh, okay. I said, anyway, life is a unit and a struggle of opposites. So it's okay. It's natural to have somebody who does not agree with you or who is opposed to you. And we laughed it off. And to me, if we have that approach, instead of looking like this, because we're enemies. Why? Okay, there are situations which require antagonism and where you go to war, but not this time. This time, whatever disagreements that are there can be discussed. We dialogue, we discuss them. The other day, Mao, the kind of things he used to say, but now he's so, which means there is no objective basis for antagonism. And even it applies to Besigye, it applies to, I used to engage Besigye. I remember he gave me a lot of trouble when I was IGP, but still I would look him out and try to say, but why are you doing this? Because I thought it was just artificial. For me, I don't know how to pretend. All these are artificial. What's there? What is either ideological or management that really would want you to go to war? Even if it's corruption, you discuss. President is the first one who is a complainant about corruption. So why not engage? And even tell Mr. President, there is this happening, there is this happening. You know, instead of throwing stones at him, instead of throwing mud at him, or the monster. I don't know whether Jay-Z will agree with me, but I believe that I don't think war is not easy. Look at Palestine. Look at what these people are doing. The kids who are being massacred. 50,000. Is that real? Even when we can talk. Oh, the future of this country is great. I'm telling you. For instance, I have a dream. I'm going to be like Martin Luther King. That one day, so what you call the cattle corridor will be an industrial park from the border with Tanzania to the border to Karamoja, the border with Kenya and Sudan, and the border with Acholi. With the industries, agro-based industries of these young people. If only we go back to our way of doing things, the NRA way, which I'm very proud. Okay, you talked about pride. I'm very proud of propagating. It's proven. Even in the era of artificial intelligence, these guys will appropriate AI. In fact, that's what you people. That's the strength. You talked about the young people as though they are reliable. No, they are not. They are a strength. I always see with my kids how they play around with this smartphone and whatever. If only you stop using it for rumamonga, you use it for building quality, for value addition to our lives, and like doing research. There is a lot of stuff now on the internet. There is a lot of stuff you can using these kids. They have the energy. We don't need robots like Japan to grow our economy and improve the welfare of the people. So for me, the future is great only if that ideology I've told you prevails, and we stop these, uncoordinated, these opportunistic voices who are really self-serving more than anything else. I've never had a career. I've always been okay, if you could call it a missionary, because even going to the bush, it was on a mission. What we share with the religious people is a mission. We're on a mission. It's not a job. I've never looked for a job. Even here I'm struggling. I'm not employed by anybody. It's tough, but yeah, it was tough in the bush. It's very tough because of the hostile credit market. Because all the money which is in these banks, they are all short term. I mean, you are putting up a banana plantation. A banana plantation, to be able for you to take a bunch of matoke to the market, takes you 3 years minimum. Which Owino, Nakasero, Wandegea, Kareru will accept like 30 kilograms, or rather 60 kilograms or 30 kilograms. Takes you 3 years. Yet the money the credit that there is they only give you, if you are lucky, 6 months grace period. What we need patient capital, which does not exist. If we had patient capital, my God.
That's a new term.
Yeah, we need patient capital. That's how other economies have developed. That's all that we need here. And then, of course, also some infrastructure. Like now, yogurt, I'm making yogurt, but I have a problem. Power is so erratic. I've asked for a transformer. Maybe I use this opportunity. I've asked for a transformer, not only for me, but for the community. We're trying to do value addition, including milling maize to get flour. We need power. But here, the transformer I have is of 20 kV. When I need at least 200 kV. 20 kV. It's here, you see it there. When we need 200, at least 200 kV, a transformer. So you find that sometimes power comes, a big surge, and destroys the equipment. Now, who will pay for that? And the bank which is asking you to pay is not bothered about all this. You see. So the infrastructure also, we need the electricity, we need water, irrigation. I love being in the countryside. Whenever I'm forced to go to Kampala, I really feel terrible. I don't like to go to Kampala. I'm happier here. Look at the environment. How do you feel? Fresh. There is no pollution. I could add on another 10 years to my lifespan. But more important, I feel good. Like, for example, when I make yogurt and people appreciate it, especially they say, oh, the kids, like families, they say, oh, our children can't see, they want Katebe yogurt, Why? I feel good. Well, it's no, Katebe yogurt, that's what we call it. Why? Because we are very, first of all, number one,
Why the name
Katebe is the name of this hill. And it's also, this hill has a history. I'm told it's mythology. So a lot of these things are mythology, but the myth around here is that this hill was part of this Chwezi, where the Chwezi kingdom went up to Bigobia Mujenyi. Now this is supposed to be Katebe Kaba Chwezi. That the Chwezi, when they are going to water their animals, that this is one of their their stopping places.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure. I'm talking about myth. History is myth. I'm talking about history is myth. Now, let me tell you, when I bought this place in 1992, I bought this hill. That time it was a jungle. All these are new settlements. It was very cheap. The land was very cheap. It was 167 acres. I paid 3 million. In today's money, I think it would be like 82,000 shillings per acre. 82,000 shillings per acre. That's in today's money. But today, you can't get an acre here at less than 10 million. Now, why it has got some credibility? You know, history. Some of these things I don't think they're just falsehoods, because why is it? I was told, I can't cut that bush. In fact, some people streamed it. It was very wrong. When we bought it, there used to be a shrine there, behind there. Now people used to bring gourds of milk, pots of beer, goats and chicken to they would come to take place to sacrifice.
They bring to you.
No, hold on. Now, this was some time back. Now, I never experienced it. Now they say that whoever stayed here, whoever bought this land, would not survive. They would not survive. They would after some time they would die. That's the myth. I'm talking about the myth. So there was a man who didn't like me in the neighborhood. He says, kari kasaja, tekaja kumarao ne sabitemu, that I would not stay here forever. Because the myth around was this place supposed to be there's something about here. There's supposed to be a huge snake. That's why I've put the saying there. Because I also feel, what if it's true? But don't dismiss these things. Yeah, so it's that. So Katebe has a history, and I want to, when this place is developed, I want to go into agricultural tourism. Tourism. What they say are stories, are mythical stories. You go to Europe and America, they just tell you, they form a story, and people come and see and listen. So I will reconstruct that shrine, and then I say, I'm a Christian. Please don't misunderstand me. But I'll be doing it for tourism and history actually.
Culture tourism.
History, yeah, cultural and historical tourism. And you never know, because certainly there were people called Bachwezi who were here. There is Bigobia Mujenyi. You can't deny. It's not far. It's not far at all. If you cross like this, of course, if you go by road, but you go like this. Have you been to Mwanga's house there? Oh, really? How can you not? I mean, you're supposed to be the most informed. You should go there. In manufacturing, there's what they call product development and market development. So, especially those of us who are starting, when you are starting, so first of all, you need to have the infrastructure, which I got 2022. It had problems. I will not tell you those stories. Then you have to have a team to have a brand, and get the proper ingredients, get the people to do it for you. So somehow we succeeded to get a good formula and a good product which the market likes. Now the biggest problem that I have right now is now, and then there are processes. You have to go to UNBS, you have to go to government analytical laboratory. They take their sweet time. You get it, and then you have to again, support, like for example, getting cups you have to buy, the ingredients you have to buy. Sometimes they are not there, sometimes they are very expensive. Then you have to, it's a new brand, you are competing with the big players like Jeza, like Lato. They have already established a network. To be able to penetrate is not easy. So our selling point is the quality. With them, they have very good brand, they've got very good packaging, you see. Now, so those are the challenges that are there. So while we have a good product, marketing it is, and of course you need to have also the money to buy the refrigerated trucks. You are not talking about the labor costs. So it's not easy. That's why what I'm saying is that if we really, I know that government is serious on value addition to agriculture, but especially to the people, you know, these big players like these, the people, the investors who come here, they come with very cheap money, very cheap patient capital. The interest rate is like 2%. Now you have to, like these Latos, these guys come with very cheap money, and they are not being pressured because you see these countries, what they are doing, they send these people like missionaries to establish a market for them, because the money there goes back. The Chinese, if you look at the proportion of the money that they leave here and what they take, but for me, whatever I know is here. Yet you don't want to support me. Well, you know, it's really local around. Then in Barara, I go up to Kalangara. Then this side I go up to Mubende here. Kampala, I'm scared of Kampala. Kampala is dominated by those big people. And yet my yogurt is better than theirs. 5 liters, well, the 1 liter is now we're very low, and we realize that we're cheating ourselves. So we have, I think, moved to 5,800 per liter. But we are the lowest.
Yeah.
We are the lowest.
Yeah.
But you see, farmers, we're not businessmen. I mean, to be honest, I have a passion for farming, but I need. So when people tell me this, that's what I go with. So that's why I was telling you that we are pioneers. We are pioneers. We need to be. Look at America. This America which keeps. That's a. Do you know what happened? You know, these Europeans who migrated and who are now the backbone of it. Whenever European reached America, he would begin to give free land and free capital. You know. Now, the Boers in South Africa, the same. But poor Africans. It's only now that I'm extremely excited. The other day I attended the Wazalendo Circle, which we founded. And now it has accumulated enough capital that now it can share dividends. It can give dividends to up to 89 billion. In that, this is the way. You see, because you see, we never had opportunity to accumulate capital. That we missed that opportunity. When the other cultures were accumulating capital, actually they were extracting from either they took us in slavery or colonialism. They came here to use us to extract. So, and all that was the basis for capital accumulation. This Barclays Bank you talk about. The other day, I think some people petitioned, they wanted some reparations because all their capital was from slave trade. And we never benefited from the Silk Road, that trade which happened. Instead, we were at the losing end of this transatlantic trade. We're providing slaves, extraction. I'm happy. I'm not, especially after I became free. Well, I decided after being free. You see, where I had gone for the mass for the late Odomel, who was my friend, and the family asked me to pay tribute, to make the main tribute. The children, because I believe they knew our relationship. So, in my remarks, I was talking about where we, me and Odomel, I was saying that we're both I was talking about a story that how we were supposed to be recruited together in 1879 to Munduri as police cadets. With the, I think I keep on saying this, it might irritate people. With the Jim Muhwezi, Tinyefuza. Now in our class, and they wanted lawyers. In our class, on the list, I was the only one who was left out. So, I was saying that, you see, later on, I become appointed as IGP, although I was rigged out in 79. So now I become IGP. And not only that, I'm the longest serving IGP in the history of Uganda. So I was telling, and of course people were laughing, it was having, so the IGP was there, I said, joking, I said, but these people do not recognize it. I said it in jest.
So it was taken out of
And, but that would be ridiculous, because I'm not, I'm always invited. You're always reporting me in these functions. I had been to Museveni for Liberation Day. I was in Ichotera for Tarehe. In fact, I'm everywhere. And where I go, they want me to speak. So which is rational. So those were mischievous. Like these people who saw me walking from this club, Kabila Club. Because of traffic, my vehicle could not, so I said, but why can't I walk? I was going for another meeting. So somebody cut out the escorts who were behind me, just to make another mischievous character. That no, that things are so bad that I'm now a street preacher. I laughed. Goodness. Well, it's really not me to judge. What I can say is that I left the police better than I found it. And I left policing better than I found it. Because I'm sure, I don't know who you talk to, but at least those I talk to, many of them have a different, because number one, I found a police which was extremely weak. In terms of numbers, in terms of equipment, in terms of ideology. There was this sense of hopelessness. In terms of stature, you see, they even used to fear themselves. Even when you looked at them in terms of the uniforms, they were tattered uniforms. You see, let us not have selective memory. I have no problem being criticized for things that did not go right. But at the same time, really, it's not correct to ignore the positive things that happened during my tenure. Number one, even when you look at crime, it's there. Crime went down. From the time when I came, it was I have even the graph is there. Nobody has challenged it. All through the crime was going down. That's number one. As an indicator that something good happened, apart from building the capacity of the police. Now, and I remember even the president himself saying it. He says, Kale, one big contribution of Kale is that he brought the police closer to the people. That's number one. Number two, he enticed professionals, different professionals, into the police. I can tell you right now, the graduates there's a record number of graduates than those I found, especially scientists, because I was trying to use the scientific techniques, scientific tools to manage crime, and we recruited a number of, like Mubiru now, who recruited Mubiru, who is now the director of forensics. I can name them. Those who are now in charge of the police are people who either I recruited or developed. then in terms of, of course, it's in the. I believe when you talk about brutality, it's in the context of policing political events. But even there, you see, there is some. Today I surfed the YouTube. There is a caption. There is a picture of I think he's a bishop of where? A Catholic bishop of actually Arua, who was saying that, who was telling the opposition that brutality on the opposition and on you journalists is because of provocation. Now, I'm not the one who is saying it. Please don't take it on me. Don't report that Kayihura has said. It is a bishop, the one who is next to God, who is saying it. Now, whether he's saying it right or wrong, but what I can say in my experience, to be honest with you, my method of policing was engagement, to a fault. But I was always provoked. How do you wake up to be told that Besigye has parked his vehicle in the middle of Kampala Road or at mini price butter to attract crowds? Forget about the fact that he hasn't even asked permission from the police, which he should have. But he just wants to cause trouble. Or I would like us, look, I would like you to attach to me an investigative journalist. Then we go, we talk about incidents by incident. Even this Narufenya, which people talk about, in the media it was, that there are snakes, I don't know, crocodiles. Narufenya was the most open. It was open. It was a police station, first of all. Only that we decided because of its infrastructure, we decided to use it when we were fighting terrorism, which was, its base was in the east. You remember those sheikhs were killed, and all the agencies got together, and we found that as an appropriate place to make it a coordinating center. But it was not. It was not in a need that people were free. Whether it is journalists used to come there, relatives of inmates. I remember one time I hosted a delegation, Mufti and his delegation. I think there was somebody who had been detained there who was related to him, and they had come to check on him and to ask, and we had Nani. So I don't know where these stories. I remember the late Medikagwa, again in response to what was in the media, going there after the committee of human rights had been there, and had found all the stories were just rubbish. I have their reports. Kagwa called me and said, Kale, I want to congratulate you, because he found that we are meeting all the human rights standards. ICRC, this International Committee, was always visiting. All these Bazungu wanted to come. I said, you come. There's nothing to talk. We're hiding. So where does these stories? It's just malicious. Then I remember the last challenge that I had were these murders of women in Katabi and Nansana. I camped in those places. By the time I left for a whole year, no such incident had happened in Nansana. And about 8 months, I have the report. In fact, at the time I was removed from office, a delegation of councillors from Nansana, and there is this man, the man who was the mayor of Katabi, they were coming to thank me because we had managed, again, using this method I was telling you, working with the people, we managed to get the culprits. And I had even involved in the Operation Wealth Creation, want to see how do we resettle these kids. Because you see, the victims were girls who had come looking for jobs in the town. Some people would entice them that they are jobs. They reach there are no jobs, so they start selling themselves. So I started engaging them to see how we can resettle them. In one such one of the leaders of Katabi, one such an engagement meeting, he saw he said, "Hey, you girl, you mean you have been here all along? We didn't know where you had disappeared." So that engagement. in answer to the same. So I don't know where these people, this creating me into a monster came from. When I was very close to the people, ordinary people, by the way, and this is coming from the elite, all those who I was never heavy-handed. You tell me, these days I hear they are praising me. They say, at least Kayihura, they miss me. The Jay-Z is saying they miss me. Of course, I'm deployed by the president, but the president does not deploy me to use methods that are unlawful. He expects you to use the law, to enforce the law, because police is a law enforcement agency, and that's what I was doing. And in fact, I was doing it. I was using soft methods. I was not using the hard methods. The hard methods were not even this thing of. I was trying to minimize inconvenience by trying to preempt. This thing of saying I was involved in the police, I had infiltrated them. You can even tell them. And I was doing it so that I don't use tear gas to inconvenience the law-abiding people. Whether basically he should know what he was planning, and I would infiltrate him. Those kids who he was using, I would mobilize them against him, so they would disappear when he thinks they are going to cause problems in town. Same thing with this man, Bobby Wine. He doesn't know. I had infiltrated him. But I was doing it so as not to use the hard methods of tear gas and anything else, which again would create a problem for the government, the image of the government, and also because that's what they wanted. Sanctions, it is the same thing. It is the lies that were told to the president and to the court martial. It was, you see, when they saw that, remember they came in September 2019 after I had been cleared. So they said, now, let us now go and deceive the Americans. And of course, because again, it was a convergence of interests. Because also these other so-called NGOs and the opposition, wanted to again attack the government, the human rights record. They now ganged up, and they told lies. But I'm told the Americans found out the truth. They did. First of all, I have nothing. I heard that I'm supposed to be having a business. I have, even my wildest of dreams, I've never dreamt of having property in America or even outside Uganda. And I told them, I petitioned them and told them, I'm not interested.
Some people don't believe that.
If they don't, that's their business. You see, people are gullible. If they don't believe it, now what do you do? Jesus was killed based on lies. And now after many, they start saying, oh, Jesus. Then they tell lies about Jesus. Then they throw stones at Jesus. So who am I? Me, I'm just poor mortal. For me, I don't have sleepless nights because people are saying nonsense. There is even somebody who said that I have got property. I don't know some. Even after they had told them that who the owner of the property, is it in Chanja? Because I see it sometimes in social media that it's an estate. Imagine an estate, goodness, and that because that's unfinished. Because I was chased out of the police. Complete rubbish. I don't even know why the owner does not come out and explain. Or if it's so, I'm challenging these people to go to the IGG because I was subject to the IGG. And let them investigate it. If they are serious, if it's not that they just want to mudsling. Actually, let me tell you, it is this. This is what I have. Maybe my home in Ixoro. The house we have in Ixoro. Because even the house I'm staying in, it is a bank. Yeah, it's a bank. It's on a mortgage. So these Americans, I don't know why don't they look for the people, for real people to sanction? Like these ones, why don't they sanction these people who are killing Palestinians, these children in Palestine? If they are honest, we are trying to give them credibility. Forget about me. If these people are not real, it's not about blackmailing. If they are moralistic, oh, human rights, oh, what? What about those who are responsible for the war in Iraq? Based on lies. And they killed the whole country. What about Libya? Let's us have this conversation, if we are serious. But of course they are powerful. But Rome, there was a time when you had a Roman Empire. Where is it now? There was a time when you had the British Empire. Where is it now? So, do these people know history? So you cannot keep on riding roughshod. You tell lies, poor. Really, why? Really, are you telling me, even if really you are talking about, even if I'm not saying I'm the best, but really, am I the worst human being in Uganda to sanction? Really, Kayihura? Really? Yes, so that's the point. So I'm just a victim. I happen to be a victim. Like somebody says that I was a low-hanging fruit. They were after the government, after the president, but they can't get him, so they get some of us, a low-hanging fruit. And then they have got this, there was a man called Malcolm X. He was, you must have heard about him. He talked about the house Negro and the field Negro. In every system there are such people. There are house Negroes and so they have house Negroes here, who they will use against the real patriots. Me, I'm a patriot. I want you to investigate me and see what I have. There is an expression that you don't throw the baby with the bath water. For me, even when and you're right to be angry, because there are things which should be done better. But at the same time, there is this baby which came from the bush, which should be nurtured. Unfortunately, it has been battered. It's like the baby born in Gaza right now. You can imagine, battered by bombs, hunger, no water. So that's the NRA baby. So your historical mission is to retrieve this baby and try to, first of all, heal its wounds and then feed it, rather than throwing it. Because let me ask, these people who are claiming that, I don't know, they can replace, what are they offering? Ask yourself that question. So for me, even in the worst of moments, it would be a historical, I don't know how they could, not mistake, crime. Even crime is putting it. If you destabilize what we have achieved since 1986, from all the struggle of the people of Uganda, by the way. Yes, there are these people who have, so your job is there to, identify. You see, there is in the bush we used to have a lesson, who is the enemy and who is an ally. You see, you need to know who is the real enemy. And I think that's the crisis you may be facing. And there is a man called Sanzu who lived 2,500 years ago. Chinese military philosopher. He wrote the book, The Art of War. He said, know your enemy, know yourself, and know your environment. And no battle will defeat you. So this is what you need to be patient. Learn the positive things. And for me, you are lucky to have, for me, I said only that some people think that I'm a single, or you are, after all, he's a single fan. That's not the point. I say it out of conviction. This old man really is a teacher, just like Mwalimu was in Tanzania. You look at his methods. If you but unfortunately, those who could help propagate this, the evangelists are not doing enough work. Or perhaps even me, when I was there, may not have done enough work. But to me, these others are a distraction. These political, I'm sorry to say, speaking my mind, and I think I'm entitled to. These other parties are and a destruction, and a dangerous destruction from the path that we took. Yes, Yanani, I don't think that this man who you think he's enjoying it. Do you know how much pressure? He doesn't sleep. Is it because you only know after he's no longer there? That's when you know what value he was for the country. So for me, you better use this opportunity. This stability. Look at Tanzania or Kenya. What the developments they have, it's because of stability. If there was something so monstrous that's happening, that really, that you deserved, as I was saying, that is so antagonistic, that then you needed to go to the bush. Yes, I could see it. But to me, I don't see it. These problems we have of corruption, corrupt people, but they are being handled. There's a mechanism to handle them. Let us operate within that peaceful framework. Let us not, as I said, throw the baby with the bathwater. I think there is a lot of impatience. I think the biggest, what I seem to see, even when I was IGP, I could see it among these young officers. Impatience, you want to. There is a book which the president wrote when things were really tough in the UPDF, in the NRA, when things, officers were becoming desperate in '89. There, he wrote a book called "The Value of Political Education," because again, people were rushing to acquire wealth. And then he was telling them the dangers of it. I think if you could, I don't know, if you could get it, the value of political education, and you really understand the problem of the moment. Because you see, you people seem to be in a hurry, and in a hurry to do the wrong things. You see? Because it's not sustainable. You're not an island. You cannot be an island. Even me here, even whatever I do, I want to involve the community, because you cannot be an island. We are essentially social. The human species are essential. You read Thomas Leviathan, Thomas Hobbes. We are not. Individualism is actually unnatural. The proper state of it is being social, and that's how we have multiplied from bands of roaming the East African coast. Now 8 billion humans on Earth. It's because of cooperation, working together, and that's where strength lies. And especially when you are faced with, you are talking about these small problems. I don't know, corruption. We are faced with these bigger problems, which can easily overwhelm us. It's very easy that Africa can be taken over again. We are 1.5 billion now. We are even bigger than China, but it is easy for Africa to come. I mean, for these powerful forces to take over, if we are not careful. So we need to be sober. This anger could be misdirected. What I would do is to continue where I left off: community policing, strengthening our with the people. The state must be people anchored in the people. That's why that's our strength, and that's what I was striving to do. If I'm lucky to be remembered, fine, they can remember me, that I tried my best. Okay, but to me, I think all of us, see, essentially, you are part of for me, in my case, part of a struggle, because that's how I look at it. And there are many better people than me who should be even remembered. And I feel sad when we don't remember them. And that's why I say, for me, I don't even think about it. I think the satisfaction is from within. It's not what, ultimately, it's not what others. It's a bonus if people appreciate you. But I think what I have discovered, the greatest satisfaction is from within. Accountability, the most important accountability, it's to yourself. You get it? That's why when you have got inner peace, like me, I have got inner peace, because I know I did my best. I'm not the best of human beings, but I know I did the best I could, irrespective of whatever anybody says. If somebody says something good about me, oh, that's a bonus. But the critical thing is that you account to yourself, accountability. And when I look at my adult life, I think on the balance of things, I'm at peace. You know, Archbishop Tutu advised us that never regret whatever wrong we may have done, because it doesn't help you. You only remember mistakes from the point of view of learning from them and becoming either a better person or doing things better. But otherwise to regret. So and then what? For me, that's why I talked about lessons learned. We must always, and that's also in the doctrine of the military, you learn from the lessons. Because let me tell you, making mistakes, there is you should watch a documentary called the Dogs of War. It's basically a documentary about Robert McNamara with respect to the Vietnam War. And at the end of it, they are blaming him. At the end of it, I think he says something about, you see, somebody asked him about that precise question. I can't remember his answer. You go and find out. And that will be my answer. Yeah. Because you see, it's easy to blame from the standpoint of hindsight. But when you're in the thick of it, things are different. You see. And there is nobody who does not make mistakes. You know, again, it reminds me of this great human being, Mwalimu Nyerere. At the time they were fighting for independence, and the Europeans were saying that Africans are incapable, they cannot manage to run their affairs, they make mistakes. And then you know what he answered? He said, see, independence means even the right to make mistakes. So leadership means even the right to make mistakes. So nobody will hit me, because they say you have made mistakes. I will count so many mistakes they have made themselves. That's why in English they say, to err is human. So it's all propaganda. If somebody doesn't like you, they'll even fabricate. And mistakes, when you come to think about it, are not individualist per se. Because when you act, sometimes you act through people, and those people make mistakes, but then they turn around, then you own them. I used to own a lot of mistakes made by others, but because I was strong enough to do so, I was ready to face whatever it was. But that's what leadership is about. One big lesson is not about it's the broader sense of the struggle. We, the generation, the fathers and grandfathers who changed, who made the generation, the 86 generation. I don't know. Okay, we shall of course apologize for ourselves that things were so much engrossed in the challenges of the day. But the biggest, I think, which you must own up, lesson, is that is the critical need to be very, very close to the next generation. In other words, so as you pass on your experience. Like my children keep on asking me about, by the way, what this, by the way, that. And I say, my God, why didn't I tell these people? Why didn't I engage these people earlier? So that, to me, that's because that's historical, because you are passing on a mission. You are passing on a legacy. Because that's what has, the history of humankind over the millennia has been possible because of that, passing on to the next generation. You see. And if you don't equip them with the knowledge, with the experience, both negative and positive. And of course the dynamics of today don't make it easy, but because in my time it was different. I grew up in a generation where I had my great-grandfather, my grandfather, or my grandparents, most of them, my uncles, so it was, you see, and you learn. It goes like today, sometimes I remember what my grandfather told me, cautioning me, you know, you get it? Or my grandmother telling me, she's telling you about the anger. Now, the anger of your nani is because, again, we let them down. Now, as a consequence, they have nothing to pass on to you. And you are angry at them. Although, of course, they are in a better situation, it's more stable. I don't have the mindset of an employee. I have a mindset of a cadre, a disciplined officer, and a command. And that's how I reacted to it. Why would I, what proprietary rights did I have on that position? That's why I get amazed actually when people start sulking, or these are public offices. You are lucky to be given the opportunity to serve, and whoever appoints you also has got the prerogative to not to disappoint. In my case, it's not disappointing, but to appoint you, and that's what happened, and that's normal. And I wasn't the first one anyway. You remember General Sare? He was the army commander. He was put aside, and General Muntu was appointed. So what was new, or what was so momentous? I accepted it, and I moved on. Actually, the biggest problem was you in the media who were spewing nonsense. Otherwise, for me, I withdrew here, and actually decided I had been. There was a lot of work here. As soon as I was removed, I came here and started. I got water. We didn't have water. I got underground water. I started Rusuku. I went to farming, and it's not what low profile. I lived a normal life. I mean, okay. If you are talking about, I adjusted. Of course, what is difficult for me? What is difficult for me is becoming an individual. It's difficult when you have been part of a struggle for 21 years. What is a bit of a difficult for me is, to feel that I'm an individual. No, I still feel I am part of the struggle, and even that's why I say, oh, by the way, even in my mind when I'm here, I said, but you know what? You are still in public service, because if I can produce food for you in the town, is that public service? Because you can't say that, oh, but you are making a profit, although sometimes you make a loss in fact. But even you who are in government employment, you are given a salary, so you are given a remuneration. So it's neither here nor there. So but mentally I say, okay, fine, yeah, I'm still serving the people. So it kind of then helps me psychologically to know that, oh, you are still in the struggle. After all, I'm actually implementing a government program of value addition. Because for me, wherever I am, I'm serving. I feel in my mind that I'm serving. I've just told you, don't I? When I take food to Kareru, I feed you. Am I not doing even a more fundamental service to nourish your life? If only I was able to, if what I'm doing was successful, and I employ, and I'm able to employ, I pay people well. I am connected with the community through production. Then, even that one I would not miss, because I'm I'm changing somebody's life, and that's what the struggle was all about anyway. To change people's lives for the better.
Not the convoys that you have.
But which convoy? First of all, let me tell you, if anything, I love walking. I enjoy walking. Of course, I don't know why you even, by the way, this thing of convoy. You see, let me tell you. I'll give you an example. You know, because of the modesty of General Katumba, he refused the escort vehicles. And you know what happened? So a lot of times, you see, I remember when I was in Egypt, we would get intelligence information that this ADF, that they're going to attack government officials. You know, in fact, I had a problem of getting enough vehicles to protect them, because VIP protection was under the police. And we tried our best. We had to divert some of the vehicles to protect, because you can imagine if when here a foreign minister has been killed, a minister here has been killed, would you be happy about it? So some of these things you think they are status symbols. They are not. They are not status symbols. I remember when we just came, Museveni would move with one vehicle. You know. But he was advised that, you know, this is dangerous. You know. Look at, you know, the story of Olof Palme in Norway. He was Prime Minister of Norway, and he was walking on the street and they shot him. What about Mahatma Gandhi? Who shot him? Unless you want our leaders to be killed. I don't know why. Why do you think it's a status symbol? Actually, some of these things you are prisoner. Me, I like even now, I am, because the army is concerned that I may be harmed.
Even at your rank, you're not supposed to do that.
No, but I would have. Let me tell you, I love to walk, to be on my own. But when people see you in a convoy, oh, you know, that proud man. And if you want to be populist, and then you also listen to them, they'll bump you off. And some of those enemies are the ones who are even saying that, so that you become vulnerable. Yes. So I think the media has a responsibility to clarify these things. It's not about status. Why should a vehicle give me status anyway? What I do is what should give me status. My last word is to go back to the main reason why we are having this interview. First of all, it's to thank the army for the CDF, General Sare, and generally and obviously the president, because they cannot do this without the clearance of the president or the prompting of him, for commemorating the process that brought about lasting peace in West Nile, and for remembering those who made modest contribution, like myself, in that process, which took longer than had been expected. I want to pay tribute to our comrade, the late Lieutenant Colonel, or I don't know whether he had been promoted to Colonel deservedly, Colonel Nasuru, this his name, his second name is Aruku. He was a very nice human being, really. I remember him in the bush. Sad, I never knew when he died. I think it must have been the midst of all this, all the turmoil. And 2007, I remember that's when the Queen came. And that's when I couldn't remember. Then nobody informed me. Then, of course, the late Major General Bamuze, I don't know whether he had been promoted. I'm told he died when he was in OWC, and of course pay tribute to him, pay tribute to the late Honorable Elia Kategaya, who managed the last phase of the process, 2000. Of course, our leader and Comrade General Salim Saleh, who played a critical role, and above all, the president. And whoever has any doubt, really, it's very unfair to characterize the president as some people call him a warmonger, but he's really a peacemaker. The president has proved to be a peacemaker. But you see, sometimes you have to use force. Sometimes you have to use force. And his strategic mind really gave leadership to the whole process, where he was able to combine both, to know when to use force and when to use dialogue. And I believe that is something that Uganda should celebrate.
New Vision TV. Stream smart, stream New Vision.